Okay, good morning, everybody. It is 10 a.m. We're calling to order our Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, April 12th. Would you please rise with us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We're going to offer the opportunity now for public comment for items that are not appearing on our agenda. Is there any public comment at this time? Okay, hearing and seeing none, we will accept public comment as each item is also under consideration. We will look now for any additions to our agenda. Anything we need to add to our agenda today? Okay. All right, none for today. We will look for a motion to approve our minutes from our April 5th meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes from April 5th.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of approving the minutes do so by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay. All right, we have one of our favorite announcements each year, and we're going to welcome up Amy Schrift, who is the Education Coordinator at the Center County Recycling and Refuse Authority, and we're going to hear a little bit from Amy about the upcoming event that the CCRRA is going to be holding. So good morning, Amy.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, and thanks for putting me so early on the agenda. I don't know who did that, but that's really nice. So I work at the Center County Recycling and Refuse Authority, and every year we have our Household Hazardous Waste Collection event, free event for residents to bring all of their, the items that you don't want the kids getting into, that if something would happen in your house, you don't want the emergency responders to have to deal with it. So you just come to our facility, drive right through, we take it out of your car, drive right away. So we do ask that you pre-register on our website, Center County Recycles. Takes about 2 minutes, or you can call our office. It's just so we have an idea of who's all coming, and then we don't have lines, and it seemed to work really good the past 2 years. People are in and out, and it's just been a really good event since we started it.
Absolutely, and online you have a list. If you call in, and either way you sign up, but a list of things to bring, list of things not to bring that you can dispose of right on the curb. So it's a really great opportunity to, again, as you said, keep people, emergency responders safe if they need to access a home, business, whatnot, but also just to declutter a little bit, get some things out of the house. So.
That's right, and it's free and open to Center County, and open to anyone, but we do get a handful of other counties coming in to take advantage of it.
It's not lost that we're about ready to acknowledge this as, I think, what is officially going to be Conservation District Week. And that being said, a lot of the things that will be disposed of in your collection are things that we don't want in our aquifers and or landfills or any place else that's not properly attended to. So from an environmental standpoint, it makes complete sense that if you have paint thinners or some of the the oil-based paints or any of the really nasty stuff that there's no good way of putting finding another disposal means for it. Right, Jim?
Bring it to us, right?
We appreciate that.
Oh, well, yeah, thanks so much. Just go to our website, call our office. We're easy to find, and
Jamie, I'm happy to hear that the scheduling system has really alleviated what used to be a very, very large line of cars snaking out onto College Avenue every year. So glad to hear that scheduling is taking care of the issue.
it's really worked great. We have 25 spots open every 15 minutes. Friday is almost full. We're about almost 800 registered out of 1,100. So if you wanted to attend, get on, and you have about 3 weeks to register for those last 350 spots.
Fantastic. We wanted to make sure that we got the information out, so thank you as always, Amy, and best of luck as you go into this event again. So thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Thanks.
We'll see you soon.
End of the month.
And as Commissioner Dersham alluded to, a perfect segue into our first proclamation today. It's the 9th of 2021, and we're going to welcome Jim Kloslow, our Director of Center County Conservation District, to share a little bit about what's going to be happening as we are currently in Conservation District Week here in Center County. So, Jim.
Thank you, and good morning. Recognized by both the Pennsylvania State House and Senate, April 10th through the 16th, 2022 has been declared Conservation District Week. Each county in Pennsylvania has a conservation district except Philadelphia. Here in Center County, the Conservation District was formed by the county commissioners in 1954 at the request of local farmers and other interested citizens who were concerned about the conservation of our soil and water resources. The district was initially organized to provide for the conservation of soil and water, assist in watershed protection and flood prevention, preserve woodland and wildlife, protect public lands, and to protect, promote the health, safety, and general welfare of the people. The district is governed by a board of directors appointed by the county commissioners and is composed of 4 farmer directors, 2 urban directors, and 1 county commissioner director. The Conservation District currently has 7 full-time employees, 2 part-time employees, and we are in the process of onboarding 2 vacant positions and a summer intern. Since its inception, the district has evolved into 3 branches, dealing with agriculture, urban erosion and sedimentation, and watershed protection. We are fortunate in Center County to have an engaged and dedicated board of directors and a group of knowledgeable and energetic employees at the Conservation District, protecting, conserving, and enhancing our abundant natural resources.
Thank you, Jim. And as you alluded to, we have 1 commissioner representative, and that's been Commissioner Dersham, and does a great job and really enjoys what he does. So anything you'd like to share, Commissioner? Yeah.
Other than, again, their work is often behind the scenes. It's really not, other than we have a seedling sale coming up.
Yes.
Is the deadline passed for that?
The deadline for orders has passed, yes, but
But
we
not for the delivery yet.
correct, that's
I
coming
have
up
some
in the
extra
weeks
shrubs
ahead.
if somebody needs.
Yes.
Anybody need any elderberries or?
Not this year. I'm stuck.
I ordered a bunch. Anyway, that being said, we're really proud of the job they do, and I think it's a lot of things, again, behind the scenes that people know, but, really, unless you're in the agricultural community, you don't see a lot of the things that happen. But they really are on the forefront of making sure that our water resources are protected. And they, you think about regulatory agencies and you think, well, sometimes they're a little heavy-handed. And I can really say with great pride that these folks work with our local ag community to make sure that they get things done in a friendly and sometimes people need a little push, but for the most part, with a little persuasion, you guys are very effective in making sure that our resources are well protected. So thank you, and thank to your staff and everybody that is involved. And we do have a pretty great board of directors, and I think you met, well, how long's Tom been there now? 51 years?
We're 51 years this year, yes.
So as we recognized Mr. Bowden last year, but 51 years of services, that gives you an idea of the level of commitment that those folks have. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, as Commissioner Dersham alluded to, it's really about respecting the tradition of farming and agriculture, but also providing resources where necessary, and you've done a great job with that, Jim, and your team as well. Like Commissioner Dersham said, it's a lot about behind the scenes, but we love the work that you do and appreciate it so much.
Yeah, Jim, thanks for coming and all the hard work of you and your staff. I think maybe occasionally people in the Happy Valley portion of the county forget that we actually have 2 mountain ranges in the county, the Appalachians and the Alleghenies, and it's incredibly important for us to control the drainage, to conserve the soils we have, to keep those natural resources here in Center County instead of having them end up at the far end of the Susquehanna. So thanks for everything that you do, and obviously I've had a number of farmers say what a great team you have at the district, so thanks.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll then look for a motion to adopt the 9th Proclamation of 2022.
Motion to adopt Proclamation number 9 of 2022, proclaiming April 10th through 16th as Conservation District Week in Center County.
Second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion, comments? Okay. Seeing and hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried, okay? And we'll present this to you, Jim, and please share our thanks as well with all the members of your team, okay? Thank you. All right. Thank you again, Jim, for being here and all the work
Thank you.
do. Appreciate it. There you
Sure.
go. There you go.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
As always.
Mr. Dersham?
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care, okay? Sure. Talk to you soon. Thank you, Mark. Okay. All right, and our next proclamation, number 10 of 2022, is going to be recognizing and really celebrating and shedding a light on all the work that's done by our dispatchers and our team in our Emergency Communications Center. So we're joined by several members of the team. We're going to turn it over to Norm to introduce folks, and we really want to hear about the great work that's done in the office. And again, thank them for all the hard work. So Norm, please.
I'm joined here today with Ramey Wydell, our Assistant Director, Jennifer Walters, our QA Supervisor, and Ross Miller, one of our long-term dispatchers. We are excited to be here today to recognize our 911 dispatch staff. Center County is extremely fortunate to have the dedicated 911 staff we have here. Our dispatchers and supervisors have worked thousands of hours overtime in 2021 and 2022, covering open shifts to make sure the county residents are protected and not leaving their co-workers working shorthanded on shifts. We can predict we're going to be busy on football weekends or during major events like Arts Festival, but there's no way to predict what dispatchers will see on any given day. Snowstorms, thunderstorms, wind events, vehicle crashes, wildfires, building fires, cardiac arrests, and many other events can take a normal day activity to busy in a moment's notice. Dispatch staff has to be trained and ready to go from a normal steady day to a chaotic busy day in an instant. Initial dispatch training at Center County typically takes 6 months with a coach, requires 4 national certifications, many other training classes, learning something new every day, and applying that knowledge forward each day before they even begin to work on their own. These first responders are the first persons to deal with emergencies in Center County. They start the process. They do many tasks from dealing with emergencies to paging agencies after hours and so many other tasks in between and behind the scenes. In 2021, our 911 staff handled over 38,000 emergency phone calls, over 88,000 non-emergency phone calls, and these phone calls resulted in 120,000 incidents for emergency services and other agencies we serve. So I think Jen wants to say something too, so.
Well, since Norm already introduced us, I'll just say I'm Jen and this is Ross. And even though I'm the QA supervisor, I've been working as a dispatcher to fill in shifts, and I love doing that. It's my passion here. And on behalf of all the other dispatchers in the 911 center, Ross and I want to say thank you to the commissioners for recognizing us this week. It takes a special person to be a 911 dispatcher, whether it's giving CPR instructions, talking someone through a panic attack, or staying on the phone with a caller who's very ill and very scared. Being a dispatcher is a tough job. Training never seems to stop for us. There's always new technology, new ways of dealing with emergency situations, and we're constantly enhancing our skill sets. We're here on weekends, overnights, as Norm said, every weather event, every Penn State football game, and every holiday. We miss family time, birthdays, and our children's sporting events, and through the pandemic, we were still here. Most of the time, we're just a voice on the other end of the phone when someone's having a really bad day. So this week, it's special for us. It's a week to celebrate our achievements, each other, and the job we love to do. So thank you again for recognizing us.
No, I'm good.
Okay, Jen
He's
was
just
your,
my moral support.
Jen's your spokesperson for today? Okay, fantastic. Well, I think it goes without saying that we couldn't live in such a great community if it wasn't for the work that you do. And often it's taken for granted. Often it's thought, well, we'll just pick up the phone and call 911. But the dedication and the lifetime of service and sacrifices that you've made really enables us to have an excellent community here. And it supports our first responders. It helps them get to the scene, have knowledge, be able to react, be able to save people's lives. And it's really a testament to the great work you do. As Norm alluded to, you just don't walk in and start day one. There's training. You have to be patient. As you supervise people, as you train them, you have to be patient with them. So we appreciate that as well, because we know that retention and recruitment is difficult. So bringing those new people on, we really appreciate that, because that's going to make a difference long term. But really, it's about celebrating the work you do. So thank you so much on behalf of myself, the commissioners. But I think we all have some comments and some words of thanks to share.
Sure. Again, as Commissioner Pipe said, thank you very much. I have a little better understanding of your department than some of our other 52 different departments, since I serve on the statewide 911 advisory board. And not just in Center County, but in 66 other counties. There are tens of thousands of dedicated 911 dispatchers working 24/7, 365. It's easy to say that. It is darn hard to staff it. And a good example would be the flood we had, kind of my initiation as a commissioner, back October 22nd, 2016. People showing up for the midnight shift thought, it's a little rainy, but it's an average day. And by 8 o'clock the next morning, we had evacuated an entire village where the floods were up to the second floor level in the houses. We had people trapped. We had emergencies all over the place. And you showed up thinking it was just going to be an average day. So thanks again for everything that everyone on the staff does. You're helping deliver babies. You're helping save lives. Commissioners very much appreciate what you do, and I know county residents do as well.
Jen, Ross, well, Jen, you actually brought it up, so you say you've missed birthdays. There's always been like an urban legend around here that you really aren't a dispatcher until you've delivered a baby and caused that first birthday. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah. And I stopped having birthdays at 39, so I've missed a
Oh,
lot.
okay. Oh, you've missed a lot of birthdays, but like on a routine basis, how many really like joyful events are there? Like delivering babies. I know you deal with a lot of the tragedies, but there's got to be some highlights of sort of good things that happen like that. Have you delivered a baby, Ross? All right. See, that's what I'm talking about. And, those are the kind of things that I think, again, we take it for granted, that there's always going to be somebody on the other side of that phone line to make sure that things are taken care of. And you are there under the worst of circumstances and occasionally some of the best. So we really appreciate the job you do. And I know as tough as it is to do that job and maintain your candor under really some miserable circumstances, we really appreciate the fact that you're there and you have the temperament. And to Jen's point, not everybody can do it, and we appreciate those who can. So thank you very much. And
One last thing I'd like to recognize, and Ross is our top overtime person for 2021. Ross worked 700 hours overtime last year, so that's an incredible amount of time to spend here. And again, to help each other out so they're not shorthanded is a big part of that. So,
Ross, we appreciate you stepping up, and we can tell the dedication you have from talking with Norm offline, and he shares stories with us, good things. He lets us know if we've got higher call volume. Your name constantly comes up. So it's nice to put
Only in good things.
Yeah, it's nice. Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely. That goes without saying. But it's nice to see you here today and show some recognition for you. And so, again, thank you all very much. Okay? We're going to look for a motion now to adopt our 10th proclamation.
Sure. Enthusiastic motion to adopt Proclamation number 10 of 2022, proclaiming April 10th through 16th as 911 Dispatchers Week in Center County.
with an enthusiastic second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay, we'll welcome you up, present the proclamation.
Go ahead. No, you go first.
We'll slide over a bit this way here.
No,
So we'll give that to both of you, okay?
You can hold that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Act like you like me.
Thanks, Natalie. Thank you. Thank you all once again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
Go deliver some more babies.
Okay, our next item on our agenda today is going to be our fifth resolution of 2022. We're going to welcome up John Fronick, our our Deputy Administrator. And we're also going to welcome up Jennifer M. Karen Esquire from Eckert Siemens, who is serving as our bond counsel for this discussion, and also is representing our financial team today. So we'll turn it over to both John and Jen. And Jen, thank you for being here as well. Good morning.
Slide back one step. Okay. So in April of 2021, Center County acquired the former Center Crest facility on East Howard Street in Bellefonte, and Center County's Facilities Department personnel immediately began monitoring and maintaining the facility in preparation for winterization to prevent damage and degradation of the building. The Board of Commissioners and administrative staff concurrently got to work reaching out to architectural firms to provide professional services in performing a feasibility study of the property. MG Architects was selected to assist the commissioners in answering several questions that included whether it made programmatic as well as financial sense for the county to utilize the former Center Crest facility for its own purposes. A several-month analysis was performed, and the determination was that the facility is structurally sound and worth the renovation investment to repurpose the facility as county government offices with a primary focus on creating a centralized human services location. As you may know, some county human services departments are currently in the Willowbank building, while others are in leased spaces at other locations. It's important to note that county staff has conferred with Bellefonte Borough Administration at key points along the way thus far, and those conversations will, of course, continue as we move forward. As stated earlier, the plan is to relocate various human services departments from Willowbank and other leased office spaces. So the project budget is structured to accommodate renovations to both Center Crest as well as Willowbank. We also see this as an opportunity to continue with the ongoing improvement objectives at the courthouse. So in saying that, working with MG Architects, a preliminary budget for the stated projects included approximately $29.2 million for the reuse of Center Crest and $2.8 million for projects at Willowbank and the courthouse, for projects totaling just over $32 million. Project financing is proposed to include $30 million in a bond issuance as well as $3 million in county funds for a total funding amount of $33 million. Center County's project finance team includes PFM Financial Advisors as well as Eckert Siemens, which will provide bond counsel services. With us today is bond attorney Jennifer Karen of Eckert Siemens, representing the finance team, and she will now provide an overview of the anticipated bond issuance timeline.
Okay, thank you, John. And good morning, everyone. As John mentioned, my name is Jennifer Karen. I'm a bond attorney with Eckert Siemens, Sharon and Malott in Harrisburg. And as bond counsel, we've worked with your financing team to prepare the resolution that is before you, which basically targets the first bullet point that is on this slide in terms of the authorization to proceed. The resolution before you is essentially twofold in purpose. The first purpose is to identify both the capital project and the refinancing project that are currently being contemplated by the board. And as part of that, the resolution also contains provisions under the Internal Revenue Code and its regulations with respect to any reimbursement that will be permitted under the code in terms of any county funds that may be utilized before the tax-exempt financing would close. The second main purpose of the resolution is to identify the financing team, which John has already mentioned, and the resolution will provide the authorization and direction for the financing team to proceed to prepare to take the necessary and appropriate action to continue to prepare for the financing and to gear up for the next steps. That segues to the next bullet point that's on this slide, which is the preliminary official statement. That's the offering document that is prepared with county information. It's utilized to market the bond issuance to investors. As part of that process, we will also, the financing team will also obtain the credit rating for the bond issuance and select the underwriter to be utilized. The next preparatory action as part of that second bullet point would be the preparation of the actual debt ordinance pursuant to the Local Government Unit Debt Act. That ordinance will contain the actual authorization for the incurrence of debt under the Debt Act, whereby the county will issue general obligation debt. The third bullet point there is the pricing date. Following the enactment of the debt ordinance, the issuance will be taken to the bond market, and the pricing of the bonds will occur at such time. Currently, it's estimated to occur sometime in June. That would be the time at which the bonds are locked in, the rates, the terms, all the specific information regarding the bond issuance will be locked in upon pricing. After the pricing has occurred, within approximately a 35 to 40-day window, we will take the filing of the county to the Department of Community and Economic Development for its approval. We'll prepare the closing documents and bring the issuance to a settlement sometime in the July-August timeframe. And at that time, upon settlement, the funds will immediately become available to the county for its use. And that's all I have. I'll turn it back to John.
So just to briefly touch on a construction timeline, we are hoping to have the MG Architects start design work soon this month. The goal is to have the project out to bid then after the beginning of the new year in January of 2023. And the hope is to have construction completion by the second quarter of 2024. Once that is completed, then we would start to move in the identified departments that are to be relocated to the facility by the third quarter of the same year, 2024. So at this time, Mike, I would turn it over to you for some comments.
Sure, thank you. This will be an opportunity for us around the table for the Board of Commissioners to offer some thoughts, perspective on this. We put together some slides from my perspective on some of the benefits or reasons why we would go forward with this project. And I really want to first stop and thank both John, Jen, also Garrett and Dan from PFM, and John as well from your team, Jen, but really for all the financial numbers that we've received during information sessions, work sessions. They've been very, very helpful as we've gone through this process. We've been very diligent. We've really looked at these numbers from a number of different ways. So just wanted to go into a little bit more of the reasons behind this, and I'll loop back to talk about really the benefit of taking out this debt and the investments that we're going to be making. So the way that I view this, and I've encouraged others to view this, and I would encourage our community to view this, is really about preserving the legacy of Center Crest. And this is a building that has been with us second only in age to the courthouse here in Center County. And the amount of people that have worked there, resided there, and their family members who have visited there, certainly in the thousands. And I think we do have an obligation to honor those people, to invest in this building, breathe new life into it, and reuse it. We know that the building has good bones, as they say. It certainly can be updated and upgraded. Second thing, the Bellefonte community, as we know, is seeing a lot of investment, constant investment and revitalization. And this would really be part of that. This investment in the Bellefonte community would bring about potentially over 100 workers back in the Bellefonte. Many of the workers that we have in the Summit Park building, where we currently rent facility space, were in the Willowbank building, but due to the 911 system upgrades we needed to do, they moved out, and this would be an opportunity to bring them back in. Again, these would people be going to lunch, having meetings in coffee shops in downtown Bellefonte, potentially even moving here. So there is that opportunity as well to invest in Bellefonte community. From a access of services, so residents that would be coming to access services in the Human Service Center and other entities that we would have there, we would see a streamlining. It would give community members the ability to access services in a bit better way. In terms of the next slide, if you would. Yes, thank you, John. We do have overcrowding of offices here in the Willowbank building. The pandemic did allow us to do some remote work, but as we thankfully are seeing cases decrease, we're bringing more people back into the building. And the work that we do really is person to person, human to human, interaction, teamwork. We really feel that it's best done in person. So we need additional space to alleviate some of the overcrowding that we have here in the Willowbank. And we mentioned before, we're currently leasing space in other locations throughout Center County. And instead of paying that lease funds, investing in a county-owned facility would help us to offset some of the operational costs that we will have with Center Crest, that building being operational as we come into 2024. We're also going to have an ability to receive a lot of input, good input from the residents about the space that we haven't yet allocated or identified as county office space. There's a little bit of space in there with the help, again, of Jen, John, and the finance team to see what percentage could we have of this project that might be rented out to for-profit entities, businesses. We could also look at partnering with nonprofits. So that ability for us to have town hall meetings, receive input from the residents that live there, will really be beneficial as we go throughout this process. And we're certainly going to work with the Bellefonte Borough as we look at the reuse of this space. The last slide that we have up there, we talked about the streamlining of services from the individual accessing them standpoint, but also from the coordinating and the background that happens within the coordination of services. We currently have many different offices in different locations across the county, but having them under one roof for human services, again, I think we believe that it's going to improve and enhance that coordination. Also, we're going to have some other offices over there, and we think about the elections office and the additional work and additional services they've provided over the last several years with vote by mail, over-the-counter early voting. We also could see the potential for accommodating increased space needs, not only for the interaction they have with voters, but also with the storage of equipment as well, getting them some new space as well. We may also be looking at additional offices to go over there as well. The last thing I'll mention is the adaptive reuse that the county has done in the past would really be strengthened, and the legacy would continue with the projects that have been spearheaded by previous Board of Commissioners. We think about the Annex, Temple Court Building, and the constant investments that we're doing at the courthouse. So these are just 9 of the ideas that I think that as we promote this project and we look forward to moving forward with it, really will allow our residents and citizens and ultimately taxpayers who this additional debt will be brought on to let them know that this really will be a project that will serve us very much well into the future. Again, want to really hammer home the point that we have been clear-eyed and realistic about the finances that we're looking at moving forward today. It's not going to be just a few dollars. It is quite an amount of money, and it does bear recognition that in order for us to again honor the legacy, improve services, it really will be a terrific investment from my standpoint. And that's not to say that we could not downsize this project as we go throughout. We've most recently gotten an updated numbers of cost increases that our architect and design team have identified. Those numbers are a part of that $29 million. That is the overall project at this point, but there is some contingency funds within that amount. There are contingencies as well. If you notice, it's a $32 million project, but a $33 million total financing available, funds available. So we do have a $1 million cushion there, but there's other numbers baked into that $29 million as well. And last point I'll just say is that this really will enable us, again, to have a lot of discussion within county government about how we provide services, how we allocate services, and again, it's an exciting opportunity for us to look at. So, and again, we could look at not doing all parts of the building. There's opportunities for they call it white spacing it, or even just doing very, very minimal renovations to it that could save us additional money at lower cost for the project. So I'll pause there, stop there, turn it over to my colleagues at this point to make some comments. But again, really want to appreciate the work that's been done up to this point. Have a long way to go. We're talking about moving in about 2.5 years, so long road if we do proceed on this. At this time, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Higgins.
Thanks, Mike.
Sure.
Yeah, I want to reiterate what you said, thanking the large team of people who've been working on this from a financing standpoint, a legal standpoint, logistics, administration. I remember Margaret spending a significant amount of time coordinating all of the different needs of all of the different county departments based on the space we had currently and what we had envisioned potentially for the Center Crest building. So there's already been a very significant amount of time, thousands of hours, put in just to get us to this point. maybe I'll answer one of Gary's questions first. This will not result in a county property tax increase. We already have millage in the county budget to cover bonds. Over the last 6 years, the current board has paid over $24 million toward the currently outstanding bonds. And as obviously anybody looking for a house right now realizes, interest rates are starting to rise from all-time historic lows. So this would tend to be the time to try to capture still historically relatively low interest rates. This is a major investment by the commissioners in the borough of Bellefonte. We have a solemn obligation to keep this significant county building in good repair. As Commissioner Pike mentioned, Center County government has a multi-decade history of adaptive reuse of buildings in the borough of Bellefonte. It saves the county and the taxpayer money. It conserves resources because we don't have to build new roads, we don't have to put in new water lines, we don't have to put in new sewer lines, we don't have to put in new power lines, we don't have to put in new natural gas lines. It's already all there. Some of the examples of the adaptive reuse, of course, the courthouse annex, the Temple Court, and the most significant building, which was also a healthcare facility, is the Willowbank building, and they're all in the borough of Bellefonte. This will centralize multiple county offices. It'll be more effective for citizens and county staff. Mike alluded that in addition to co-locating county staff, there's the possibility of working with nonprofits, potentially even for-profits, who could locate in the building, which would improve coordination of services for our citizens. Something I don't think Mike mentioned directly is this facility will also fix county occupancy costs. We are going to know, with the possible exception of a little bit of utilities, what our costs are going to be for a couple decades into the future. With commercial rents, they almost never go down. They almost always go up. And we'll also be able to see some rental income from potentially the nonprofits or for-profits. So major investment, but we have a significant county building, second oldest building that the county owns, that has been turned back to us, and as John said, the bones are good. It can be reused and repurposed for the next several decades of serving county citizens. Thanks.
First of all, I want to thank Margaret, thank John, thank the whole Eckert Seaman team and MG Architects. We've gone round and round with this, and I think I've put this board through a considerable amount of questioning. I know Margaret's been a tremendous sounding board for me as I've moved forward. She's been there to kind of guide me through some of the more difficult concepts here, because this is a lot of money. This is a huge investment in county government. But I really have to thank my fellow commissioners for listening to me, and I know there have been times when I probably drove you crazy, and we've pared this number down, and I think we have the opportunity to save even more money, and hopefully the economy and the cost of materials will stabilize at some point, and we'll be back to some element that we recognize. But most importantly, I think this is an opportunity for us to really, as Michael said earlier, and I think as a lot of folks in the community realize, we have a 100,000 square foot facility. It's easy to say, okay, let's put a wrecking ball to it and start over, and I appreciate that. But at the end of the conversation, there is a lot of heritage and a lot of reality. The fact that is one of the true landmarks of the Bellefonte community and of Center County's history. And there's been a lot of folks that have had family there. I'm among them, and we appreciate the facility for what it is. And as much as I've struggled with saying, yeah, this is the right move, and maybe it's a little bigger than we need right now, I think it will relieve a lot of growing pains into the future. And I think there's also an opportunity for us to take this facility and partner with some of our community resources that we use daily and put them all under one roof. And believe me, I have labored long and hard over this decision, and I don't think there's anybody in this room that doesn't know that I've asked more questions than there were probably answers for over the time. But I'm comfortable now that this is probably the right thing to do. And the fact that we've pared the number down to about as low and as bone, we're down to the bone on what we think, and maybe with everything all the stars line up and we can do this project in a great way. And I see our CFO out there just hoping that works out. Thank you, Joni. But yeah, this is a big deal. This is a big deal for not only county government, but for the Bellefonte community. And we've had really good response back from the Bellefonte Borough. And I just think this is going to be one of those partnerships that hopefully we can all be proud of, and the end product will be something that for generations that will serve the needs of Center County.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you. And you never have to apologize for asking tough questions, and Commissioner Dershowitz really has reduced the cost of this project, allowed, at least from my standpoint, I don't want to speak for Commissioner Higgins, but really let us see, okay, what do we really need to do with this? And it really has asked excellent questions, so I always appreciate them. So thank you, Commissioner, for asking them and putting some reality in front of us, so I appreciate it. Absolutely.
Well, this has been, I think we're all working for a mutual objective.
Absolutely.
And as painful as it is, monetarily at times, that's the reality that we live in right now. And, and we just had a major investment in the parking infrastructure over there. And we have so much that's there now ready to go that I think it's the right thing at the right time. So
Appreciate that. I couldn't have said it better, the heritage. I think that's the word I was looking for. We were all looking for, but the heritage of this facility. So thank you for summing it up so well. So with that, the presentation is concluded at this point, but anything else we need to add, John, Jen, at this time? Okay, all right. We'll open up to questions before Gary, if there's any, before we look for a motion. Any questions?
I can wait.
Okay, sure, sounds good.
Thanks.
So this time, if there's no further discussion, we'll look for a motion. It's a long one.
Yes.
If you wanted to shorten it, don't feel like you've got to.
No, that's okay.
Okay, all right.
This is quite a bit of
Fair
motion.
enough, fair enough.
We'll read the whole motion.
Okay, fair
So,
enough.
I apologize, but it's a full paragraph.
Oh, sure.
So, motion to add the resolution number 5 of 2022 to next week's consent agenda as presented, expressing the county's intent to issue general obligation bonds to finance certain projects as described in the resolution, declaring the county's official intent to reimburse certain expenditures, and authorizing and directing the county's financing team to proceed with action in preparation and furtherance of the issue of such debt. So is the one Esquire in the room okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good. So that's my motion.
I will second that.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded. Any final questions or comments at this time? Okay, we're seeing none. All right, all in favor, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay. All right. John, Jen, thank you again.
Thank you
Very
for
much
coming in.
appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you again for your hard work, and both of you for entertaining a lot of interrogatory in this conversation. So, thank you.
Okay, moving on to our next item, we're going to welcome up the Director of Residential Services, Housing Director for Center Safe, Amy Rumble, at this time. We appreciate you being here, Amy, and we'll turn it over to you. And also Faith. Okay, Faith. Okay, great.
I'm bringing Faith with me.
I apologize. And Faith, no, you're good. You're good. Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Amy Rumble with Center Safe, the Housing Director, and coming to you today to ask for your support in a grant application that we're submitting for more transitional housing. So Faith is here with me as well to vouch for our transitional housing programs that we have at Center Safe. We receive money through adult services as well and have been for, I was trying to think how long.
Multi-generational.
Yeah, maybe 20, 25 years. And the one that we're submitting now to the federal government is through the Office of Violence Against Women. And this is also a grant that we've had for the last 7 years and have been utilizing this money for transitional housing quite successfully for the last 7 years. So this is a renewal application for us, and we're here to seek your support. OVW really likes when we have community partners such as Adult Services. We'll be working with CareerLink, Interfaith, the libraries. We'll be working with the Reentry Coalition, so that's why we have on here criminal justice planning. One of our focal groups for this grant is working with folks who are coming out of the county corrections and need help with housing. So, and again, of course, Center Safe is serving victims of domestic and sexual violence and stalking. So we're focusing on that group of the population, but really looking to help those who are trying to transition out of the county corrections and back into the community, and to do that safely and with the stability of our housing programs. Our housing programs provide financial services for up to a year, but we also provide a lot of supportive services like counseling and advocacy and hooking them up with different county resources and other human service agencies that can support them as they're transitioning either out of the facility or out of the abusive home that they've been living in. So we're here looking for your support today. Faith, do you want to say?
Yeah, just really quickly, I wanted to talk a little bit about transitional housing. So I've been in front of you numerous times, especially recently with different funding sources where we're asking for more money for emergency shelter, rental assistance, and also rapid rehousing and permanent supportive. And even for us, those acronyms are starting to become kind of confusing and trying to figure out what is the best match. But we're really fortunate in Center County to have such a continuum of housing services, which includes transitional housing, or what we call in our department bridge housing. And so the difference there is that this allows people that 1 year, sometimes even more, to really stabilize. We're looking at families that sometimes, especially individuals that have never paid rent on their own because maybe they were unable to. They were limited in what they were able to contribute to their household. And so they get all that support from Center Safe. They do an amazing job with their bridge program that we fund through the block grant. So this is just an additional piece of the puzzle. And so I'm always so pleased to work with Amy and also with Janine and Heather. They're definitely the favorites at the Center Safe there. So thank you for having me, and I'm really happy to be here to support you.
Yeah, thanks, Faith.
Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you very much, Faith. The more housing that we can have in this community for as many services as we can get is helpful. And so we really wish you the best of luck with this application. I think it's we enthusiastically will support this MOU. We know that you need it in a timely way. So by Thursday, we will absolutely have it for you to be able to apply, and we'll take care of that. But thank you for being here today and showcasing this. Any further comments?
As Faith continuously tells us, transitional housing is absolutely critical. If you're working a minimum wage or, heck, even a $15 an hour job, and you already have living expenses, it's very hard to come up with the cash up front for a security deposit and a first month's rent pretty much anywhere in the county at this point. And transitional housing enables people to do that, enables people to use a very overused phrase, finally lift themselves up by their bootstraps because somebody had them. Somebody allowed them to have upwards of a year to put things in order and get ready to launch. So very important, and we very much appreciate the work Center Safe does.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you, and I know this is from the Office of Violence Against Women, but your office and your crew serves everybody, which is a wonderful thing. And to layer on to what Mark just indicated, one of the things that we're all aware of is that when somebody's in a crisis situation, particularly in an abusive relationship or whatever the circumstance might be, finances are often splintered at best. And trying to figure out how to cobble that all back together to make a future for yourself is difficult. And to have this bridge is incredibly important, particularly in circumstances where individuals are using economic weapons against you, and we appreciate that. And Faith, your shop does an amazing job on all different amazing fronts, and we thank you for that. But this is just a program I think that will be instrumental in changing the lives of a lot of our community members, and that's a really cool thing. So thank you.
All right, at this time, we'll look for a motion for the MOU.
Motion to approve the Memorandum of Understanding with Center Safe.
I will second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion or comments on this? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Thank you both once again. Thank you. All right, we're going to welcome up Chris to talk about an MOU for a final land development plan, and this would be in Penn Township. Good morning, Chris.
Thank you, and good morning.
What are we building today?
It says in here, Steve, it's a manufacturing facility.
It was more of a rhetorical question.
Rhetorical question.
Just want to give a brief synopsis of the MOU that's being presented today. It's a three-party agreement between the developer, township, and the county, whereby the developer will agree to reimburse, in this case, Penn Township, for the costs associated with the township's engineers reviewing, inspecting, and approving the engineering details of the plans. Now, the MOU that's being presented today constitutes a final plan submission for Paul and Linda Fisher, showing the development of a single building being 11,760 square feet to be used for retail light manufacturing of roofing material, along with corresponding infrastructure. This proposal is located along the northern right-of-way of Tattletown Road, approximately a half a mile from its intersection with West Aaron Drive. And just to give a sense, the property that's being developed is on the north side of Tattletown Road, and if you go just off the aerial about a half a mile, that's where you're going to intersect with State Route 45. Mr. Fisher owns a company called Superior Metals, LLC, which is located right along Ridgeview Lane, and he's relocating maybe about 3/4 of a mile of Tattletown to a bigger facility. I think a lot of times he wants to keep a lot of the products out of the elements. In addition, he's expanding his business. And so the plan that was prepared by Henry Surveys is up on the screen. It's a pretty simple development where there's a driveway being proposed with parking facilities, and that's the location of the building with stormwater located along the infiltration trench. And that's the presentation for today.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chris. Any comments or questions on this MOU?
Go back one,
Yeah.
Chris?
Sure.
So I'm assuming kind of in the upper left-hand portion, that's kind of Aaronsburg up there?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not Aaronsburg, but if you go up,
All right.
Aaronsburg is right, Tattletown is right at the beginning of Aaronsburg.
All right. And I think just off to the left is probably Elk Creek
Yes.
on the left side.
Correct.
So yeah, I've biked out there a lot. It's very scenic.
Mhm.
But happy to see we're adding a little more manufacturing in the county.
It's great to see the growth of a company here and expanding. That's excellent. So appreciate all the work the Planning Community Development Office has done, you as well. Planning Commission to finalize this. So looking forward to development. Any idea on breaking ground? Any?
He wants to do it tomorrow.
Yesterday, yeah,
Yes,
right,
exactly.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's very anxious to get started, and the plan is in pretty good shape. It'll be heard at the May's meeting of the County Planning Commission, but by the time it gets to there, he'll be ready to start putting the shovel to the ground.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Any final discussion on this? Okay. All right. We'll look for a motion for the MOU.
Motion to add the memorandum of understanding for the final land development plan for Paul B. and Linda S. Fisher Manufacturing Facility to next week's consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you, Chris, very much.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Okay. Item D on our agenda is going to be with Dave Lomison to talk about an intergovernmental service agreement. So we'll
Hi, Dave.
turn it over to Dave at this
Good
point.
morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. What a great day to be at Center County's board meeting. I think a lot of good things have happened here today, and I can hopefully add to that for the residents of Center County with what I'm asking you about. We've been approached by, through the Commonwealth and the Susquehanna Regional Transportation Authority, which is a division of Rabbit Transit, which is a very huge transit authority within Pennsylvania.
You say Rabbit?
Rabbit.
Okay.
Yep. Rabbit.
Rabbit.
R-A-B-B-I-T. Yes. Rich Farr runs the Rabbit Transit Authority. He's been an advocate for public transportation for as long as I've been here, and through his efforts and the team efforts of the PPTA and all the transit authorities in Pennsylvania, we've been offered an opportunity to meet a need for the residents that don't always have transportation. More so those individuals that maybe have medical assistance to go to medical appointments but have no way to get to other appointments, such as grocery stores, to various other activities. So this memorandum is coming about through Geisinger Health Plan. And Geisinger is funding these trips through the Susquehanna Regional Transit Authority for these individuals. Up to 4 trips a month they can take to non-medical appointments. And that's huge. I mean, it may not sound like much, but when someone calls in and wants to go to the grocery store and they have no funding source, our cost for a round trip, basic cost is $36. They don't have that kind of money, but they have needs. And if they live within the Catabus area, we can help them, but with services being reduced, that has taken a lot of that away as well. So if they live in Aaronsburg, they don't have an opportunity, or places that aren't served. So we do serve that. So what this is about, just to give you a little context, Rabbit Transit, the Susquehanna Regional Authority, would be the people that sort of take care of these trips. They'll schedule them. With the agreement, we allow them, they have a couple people that will schedule these trips into our system. We'll look at these trips. If we can do them, we give them the thumbs up. If it's too much that we can't do, we tell them, and they reschedule it. But it takes a lot of the workload off our staff. We don't have to worry about taking the calls. They field all the calls. Everything is handled through their authority and the individuals they designate. I would then have designated people in our office to handle those correspondences so that it's sort of a seamless thing. It's a one-year contract. They do all the legwork. We basically provide the trips on our shared ride service. In the 9 months of the fiscal year, we've accomplished 40,000 trips in shared ride. Sounds like a lot. We're still down. So, this could enhance us getting back to more of a normal from 2 years ago, but at the same time, meet the needs that are certainly crucially needed out there of these residents. You feel bad when you tell someone, I can't take you to the grocery store. I can't get you there, or can't take you to visit a loved one, even simple things like that. So my reason for being here is asking the board to consider the agreement with Susquehanna Regional Authority to provide contracted services upon request for the shared ride trips. The period would be July 1, 2022 through June 30th of 2023, and then renewable each year thereafter as long as it's working. That's my request today.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
That sounds fabulous, Dave. Trying to summarize it here. So you're saying starting July 1st,
Yes.
Center County residents who are eligible for the MATP program.
Well, they have to be in the Geisinger plan.
After,
Yeah,
and in the
a lot of
Geisinger
them
plan.
are. Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
And in the Geisinger plan,
Yes.
can do up to 4 just errand or visiting relatives
Random
or
trips,
really
yes.
anything.
Yes,
4 trips a month, and Geisinger's going to pay for everything.
yes.
Nice.
Geisinger's paying 100% of these, yes, through their entity, yes.
Is this a pilot program that Geisinger's doing? Have they done
It's
it?
already working in some areas.
So
Oh, no,
County-
no, it's already working in the Rabbit zones. Yes, they already have this up and running, so what they're doing is offering it statewide now, more broad areas to help with these, knowing that there's such a need and there's just no way to meet these needs.
Is there, just out of curiosity, Dave, is there an expectation that Geisinger will promote this to their?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, yes, they're already promoting it, yes, yes. And it's funny that throughout the process, my staff that's been working on behind the scenes, I'm asking them questions constantly about it, and when I look at a client, I see GHP at the top, that means they're in the Geisinger Health Plan. So, if you're under 60 in Center County and your medical assistants, I can take you to medical appointments, but I can't take you to other things with that, unless they pay the full fare. So it's a great opportunity to help those in need, and hopefully it's a building block of other entities doing the same thing. So, yeah.
Sounds great, Dave. Thank you. Any final questions? Okay. All right, we'll look for a motion.
Motion to add the intergovernmental service agreement with the Susquehanna Regional Transportation Authority to next week's consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion, questions? Okay. Hearing none and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
We've before us our consent agenda. Would there be a motion to approve?
Motion to approve today's consent agenda. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. The motion is carried. Okay. Commissioner Higgins, we'll turn it to you for our check run.
Sure. Substantially smaller than average check run of $573,957.66, dated April 8th. Got a series of checks to housing transitions of over $50,000 for a variety of housing, bridge, and walk-in programs. We very much appreciate the work we do with housing transitions, kind of continuing the theme from earlier in the meeting. Would like to make the motion to approve the check run.
Second. All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve today's check run. Any final discussion on it? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay. Anything to report today, Margaret, for you?
Just to remind everyone that the Department of Health's testing site, COVID-19 testing site, is still open. It has been extended through April 28th at the recycling center, the interpretive center at the recycling location. We will be looking for a new location after April 28th, but the intention of the Department of Health is to keep this resource here and available in Center County, which is great news for our residents.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. We have a letter of support in front of us today, and this is for the Pennsylvania Outdoor Veterans. That organization is seeking funding for a new Veterans Retreat Center. We had seen them present to us, I believe it might have been February or March of 2020. So it's been about 2 years since we've last had a presentation from them, but they've reached out to a number of counties throughout the state, and I think about half a dozen have so far sent letters of support. So we would obviously love to see this here, and hopefully they get some funding for it. So we'd look for a motion to approve that letter of support.
Sure. Happy to make the motion. Motion to approve the letter of support.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. All right.
That is the same project that they brought to us back at that time.
Yes, no shoe up there. Yes, yep, absolutely, yep. Okay, and voter registration, Commissioner Gershom.
We have one today. It's a total of 105,034 registered voters, which is up 9 registrants from last report. We have 43,990 Democratic folks, 147 Green Party, 658 Libertarian, 14,144 no affiliation, and 42,265 Republicans. And when you add in the 3,830 other party members, we have a total, again, of 105,034 voters. The feature party of the week of the 3,830 is the American Party. And the American Party has one registrant in Center County, and we'd like to recognize that individual. The feature precinct is precinct number 59, which is Houston Township, and they vote at the Houston Township Community Center. And in the last election, there were 942 registered voters. There were 368 ballots cast, which led to a percentage turnout of 39.07%. But the folks that make it happen at Precinct 59, the Judge of Elections, Amy Sharp, the Minority Inspector is Judith Knepp, the Majority Inspector is Edward Haywood, and the clerks are Robert Rodkey and Deborah Gill. And we want to thank them for their help, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next month. So there you have it.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Commissioner. We are just one last reminder that county government offices will be closed this Friday for spring break. We would look for any executive sessions to report or hold.
Yes, the Board of Commissioners met in executive session on Thursday, April 7th from 2:30 to 3:35 p.m. to discuss both a personnel issue and a real estate matter.
Okay. Thank you very much, Margaret. Okay. Any questions at this time, Gary?
You're smiling.
Is any of the counties, I keep calling it federal COVID relief money, would that be available for renovation work?
It would be, yes. And that's where we have an opportunity to use revenue that is excess revenue, not excess revenue. What's it called, Joni? Replacement. That's right. Replacement revenue. So there's all these categories in ARPA, but each year governments have a certain percentage, and so we've got some money there that we're allocating for that $3 million match of replacement revenue from ARPA. Yeah.
Also, the HVAC system.
That's right,
is
yes.
under a separate.
How much of a factor, if any, did Bellefonte Borough's decision a few years ago to rezone the property play in your decision ultimately what to do with Center Crest?
Sure. We have a great working relationship with Bellefonte Borough, and they've been really committed to what they told us when the rezoning occurred, was if there was another use or potential that could be looked at, that they would be willing to hear us out and potentially rezone. We haven't brought them anything at this point, so we're still within the guidelines of the current zoning. But as we have those town hall meetings or opportunities for citizens to give comments, we may see from that part of the leased space that could be potentially used for other purposes. They're going to be a part of the mix. They'll know about it. I would imagine that they would probably even make comments and share their opinions about what they'd want to see in their community. So we'll go from there. But it did certainly put some guardrails up for us initially, and I think we've found the use and the purpose for the building.
Renovation of the courthouse, are you looking at the facility itself, or you did, of course, buy the bank building, add a courtroom? Are you looking at possibly moving any court offices to Center Crest?
No, we are not. We've discussed with the court that the folks in the courthouse itself will stay in the courthouse itself. Yeah, so we would, PD, probation, DA, judges, they're all going to be within the courthouse and those ancillary buildings. The money is specifically for just a 200, centuries-old building that we just need to upkeep and have that available. Principally the retaining walls. As you well know, the retaining walls there are showing some signs of deterioration, and we want to try to get ahead of that. And so a portion of those funds will go towards replacing the retention walls.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Gary, thank you as always. We will look for a motion to adjourn at this time.
Motion to adjourn at 11:06.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you all.